Alright, what's up guys? So today we're going to be talking about the CZ Scorpion. I did say that in my last video, that the video before the one that's getting posted right now, I said that I was going to make a video on the Nexus Firearms upper receiver and my experience with the gun. And then I ended up making a different video. So we're going to talk about this today, and we're going to cover this because I feel like it's unfinished business. Got 150 rounds to this thing. 100% reliable. Just a little foreshadowing is just like 100% reliable, but there's a lot of other goodies that came with this thing. So we're going to talk about it just a tad. I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to show you a couple things and give you my first impressions on it. It's just 150 rounds, so it's not really something that is too big. It's not a big number, but I do know that if this thing works, it works, right? The tolerances are a lot tighter now that we have that aluminum handguard. But as long as you keep this thing lubed up, it should run you forever, like no problems. And then just make sure you have good magazines. So yeah, with that being said, let's talk about this thing. So, it's made out of billet aluminum, and I got the black version. So there is an FDE version, and I believe there's an olive green version. I believe so, but I do know that there's an FDE version. And I didn't get that. So I wasn't planning on getting that. So I ended up getting it, and now this thing is beautiful. Very beautiful. So I transferred all the parts from the old receiver to this one, and essentially I can make a second gun with that one. I just need to get a barrel, handguard, lower receiver, and another grip, and I'm pretty much calling it a day on that. But am I going to do that? Absolutely not. No point. What I am going to be doing is possibly getting a can for this thing and getting a red dot and calling it a day, because we don't need a light on this thing, considering it's just a backpack gun. So there's no point. It's just another thing to snag on, really. But not only that, we're trying to keep this as minimalistic as possible. So yeah, that's why it's just, we get a can, we get a red dot, call it a day. So anyway, this thing is super, super fantastic. Okay. I shot this thing, and when I first shot the 20 rounds that I had in the magazine, I was astonished, absolutely astonished with how beautiful this thing shot. It felt like I was shooting a 22. That's how good it was. And people have said, like, it definitely reduces the recoil. You can definitely tell between the direct blowback system versus the roller delayed system, like, the difference between the two. They don't tell you how drastic the roller delayed system is compared to the direct blowback. This thing shoots very, very soft. Whereas, the direct blowback is a little more punchy, a little bit more kick to it. And I wouldn't say kick as in recoil, but or not like kick to the shoulder or anything like that. But, there is a little bit more recoil, so it's going to be a little more, you need to retain it a bit better. So trying to get on target, you got to get right. You have to lean back into it and, do all of these things. Whereas this makes it a lot simpler to shoot. So we took the target out to 10 yards. 10 yards, because I just wanted to go ahead and see like how fast I could get acquisition compared to the old stuff. And by golly, was it different. I would shoot, and I swear to you, maybe an increment, like just a centimeter of movement, just to go ahead and get to the same exact hole that I shot the first round from. Very, very minimal movement to try to get back on target. This thing shot superbly. Felt like shooting a 22. Hello? Okay. So anyway, it felt like shooting a 22. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and take it apart and explain as to why that is. So there are a couple contributing factors to why this could could be. I almost just bit the hell out of my thumb. So first off, let's talk about the actual bolt itself. So the Nexus bolt is one contributing factor that we'll go ahead and put into play. The main thing is it has this spring. It's a 125% stronger, and then not only that, it has this extra spring here to kind of dampen some of that recoil, right? So it's going to, push up and everything like that, and then it's going to be dampened because it's got all this spring on there, and it's got a lot stronger spring. So you won't have to worry about, the movement all that well. So with that bolt, with that upgraded bolt, it really does help. And then not only that, it's made of better material. So, and it's treated a lot better. So the other thing, and cool, thank goodness I'm able to get lighting to show you guys. This is the roller delayed system right there. You guys see it right here and right here. So they're pretty much just ball bearings in there, and basically what that is doing is, like, when the bolt pushes through, it's kind of slowing it down, right? It's not slowing it down to, like, where it's going to be unreliable and stuff like that, but it's slowing it down so that way it runs a lot smoother through. That's the best way that I can describe it. And that's kind of what is helping with the recoil mitigation. There are plenty of videos as to how roller delayed system works. Go check them out. This is the best way that I could describe it. So that's the best way that I could describe it for you guys. Basically, this thing moves, right? And if it doesn't have anything to help run smoothly, it's just going to slam hard back there. But that roller delayed system is going to help smoothen that out. It's going to dampen some of it. So some of that impulse, right? So yeah, it's definitely going to smooth things out, iron it out, and everything will run a lot better. And then, in terms of reliability, again, I think I mentioned it earlier in the video, ran 100% reliably. So yeah, absolute Chad, this group is, very small business, but their quality of parts and manufacturing and stuff like that is superb, and I can't recommend them enough. Nexus Firearms definitely gave me, goosebumps. But not only that, they also give you warheads, if you didn't know. I'm not kidding. I got the box with the aluminum receiver, and I was like, okay, pulled it out. Then I got the sticker, and underneath the sticker, I see 2 warheads. My sister ate one, of course. The other one, I still have it in the box, I think. But yeah, they give you warheads for your purchase. So it's just like, oh, that's sweet. That's nice. But anyway, besides the point. So yeah, these guys are absolute chads when it comes to the CZ market, because they make really good quality stuff, and I'm really ecstatic about it. So yeah, these guys are cool. With that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to the end of the video, because I don't want this thing to be too long. So what are the downsides of this? We're going to talk about the receiver. Are there any downsides to possibly having this aluminum? This aluminum. Are there any possible downsides to having the aluminum receiver? There are a couple that I can point out, which, in fact, I haven't really come across. And there's one thing that I can say that I have noticed about the gun. But one in particular that does kind of irk me, but it's kind of understandable, is the fact that you're not mandated to, because it does work, but that polymer charging handle that the stock CZ Scorpion has, kind of need to put this thing on your shoulder in order to charge it, because just doing this, you need a little bit more strength, you need a little bit more oomph in order to go ahead and rack that charging handle. Another thing is, like, including, like, on that topic is, originally I was able to put the magazine in and rack the charging handle. With a new receiver, I can't do that because there's so many things restricting it, especially that ball bearing. So I have to keep this thing open bolt in order to reload. Otherwise, I can't reload the gun. Another thing is this thing has a lot of tight tolerances. A decent bit of tight tolerances. So, you know, the bolt and the aluminum housing, you know, you have to keep that into consideration. So you're probably going to have to lube it up a little bit more, which means it's going to get dirtier a little bit faster. But if you get quality lube, the thing is going to run. It's not going to be too big of an issue. But that is a possible downfall. Whereas the polymer, it's a lot more sleek. It's a lot more smooth. You put a little bit of lube on it, but overall the bolt's going to cycle no problem. That is the only downside that I really see. With that aluminum housing, having metal to metal contact, it could pose a reliability issue, but I have yet to see anything like that on the internet, and I've yet to experience it. But again, I've only had 150 rounds for this thing, and I clean it after every range day, so I don't think I'm ever going to see it, but it's just something that you have to consider, because compare this to, like, you know, compare the old receiver to a Glock receiver, right? Or a Glock grip and slide, you know? And then, you know, you get this one and imagine it being, okay, a 1911, right? So having all that metal to metal contact, there's a lot more friction involved and, you know, stuff like that. The tight tolerances, it's not going to be able to withstand it all that well. As long as you clean it properly, as long as you lube it properly and everything like that, it is going to run you a lifetime. So just clean it more consistently and properly lube it, and you shouldn't face any sort of malfunctions. I haven't faced any malfunctions, and I have yet to see any other YouTubers that could possibly have faced any malfunctions. I haven't seen it. Okay, so let's just be honest there. I haven't seen that sort of issue, but it is just something to consider. But again, the only thing that you really have to do, and it kind of sucks because you have to pay out of pocket, is change that charging handle, because the aluminum one is going to help you. I'm going to get the extended charging handle as well, so that way I have some leverage, and it's going to be made out of aluminum, of course, so that way it's a little bit stronger, and I'll be able to help with charging the charging everything. So that's the only downside that I really see, is you have to pay for an extra part on top of this, okay? But if you want to change the barrel, you know, you can change this barrel to the 5.3 inch barrel or the 8-inch barrel, get a different handguard if you want, all these other things. The modularity is fantastic on these guns, and the aftermarket support is superb. So I would get the aluminum receiver, personal opinion. And then, oh, if you didn't know, look at this, just a little detail. If you ever you got safe, fire, and then fun switch, but unfortunately I only got 2 positions. When they come out with the FRT, when Nexus Firearms comes out with that FRT, I'm gonna purchase it, I'm gonna put it in here. Otherwise, I could possibly get the binary trigger. I hear it still has that 8-pound trigger, but at least you could shoot 2 rounds at a time. So, I mean, and then you don't have to worry about out of battery detonations because the aluminum housing is really strong. So, yeah, whichever side you decide to go, you can get it, no problem, and it'll be perfectly fine. With that being said, guys, y'all have a great day, and God bless. Stay safe out there. And have a good one. Love y'all.